Okay, so we are now live on Facebook. Nope, not on Facebook. Live on YouTube. I am not sure how to share. I'm not sure how to share, but we're allegedly on. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Working on it. How do I share? Damn it. Okay, so nobody listening. No features. Sorry, there's a way to. Sorry. The reason that it's been so long is because of the hacking and coughing, and I can't guarantee that there will not be more hacking and coughing. Well, where the heck is it? Ah, ha, ha. There we go. Okay, let's dump this in some places. We're just dumping it in some places. And you can't see it, but I did it. Do, 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 do. This is YouTube Live. If you're on the Facebook page, you have absolutely no reason whatsoever to know that it exists or anything, but guess what? It will also archive a video, and once you archive that video, there you go. I would like, okay. Alrighty, so we are working on number 19. Excuse me, I'm really sorry. I still do have a very bad cough and so forth, but I'm tired of not recording. So this is going to be, oops, the title is Christmas Carols and Ceiling Fans. A short description is a short description. It is, surely we have a description that we could add to that. Oh, okay. How about the number of blades in a ceiling fan? That's pretty creative. Also, strange Christmas words. There you go. If you travel to a country other than America, or you have watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, you may have noticed that the number of blades in a ceiling fan vary from place to place. Even if you didn't notice it before, lucky bets you will now. And here's an explanation. It's pretty exciting, huh? Oh no, I know you're dying of excitement. You're like, I am so excited. Well, what can I tell you? That's how it is. Okay, so anyway, onward. We sing carols every year. At least around here we do. And most of them are quite old. Also, see, being old, they often contain archaic words and phrases. A listener wanted me to explain / interpret some of them, so Alrighty. So, Christmas carols and ceiling fans. Here we go. Last week, it was actually the week before because, as I said, I've had a problem with the cough, and so I wasn't around last week, and I'm sorry for that. Anyway, the week before that, we looked at how cake baking is not an art, but rather it is a science. A science. A science. We also looked at something that is kind of like art. It's paint by numbers. I like to do them myself. Let's see, show you one back here. I think you can probably see that there's one back there now. I only have the 3 hands, and so, no, you can't. Okay. Anyway, if you could, it was really cool. It's a webcam. It's obviously not the webcam that's being used. Okay, anyway, after we looked at about the history of the paint by numbers, it was actually pretty interesting. It was pretty cool about how it was basically devised so that people could color by numbers, and then it evolved into paints. And now, interestingly enough, it has sort of gone back to, there are kits now where you can color pencil by numbers. There is also something, it's mosaic. It's like little pegboards. It's not like a mosaic like you would make out of tile. It's mosaic out of little pegboards, and it's also done in numerical form. And now that I think about it, cross stitch is done in numerical form if you're using a pattern. And say color 1, color 2, etc. And then there'll be all kinds of little symbols on the cross stitch pattern. And yarn hooking. I've done some latch hook. I enjoy doing latch hook and cross stitch. Anyway, so why do ceiling fans have different numbers of blades in different countries? There's a history behind the ceiling fans. Believe it or not, there's a history behind the ceiling fans. Ancient Egyptians, this is true. You've seen these like Ben-Hur movies with the queen or the king sitting there, and he's all displayed back, and there are 2 people standing to either side of him, and they've got huge palm leaves, and that happened. That actually was true. They would do that to move the air, and it would help the royal or VIP feel cooler. So hand fans, which are the little, the Japanese and stuff, you think of them as having all the pretty colors and stuff on them. Hand fans came into being around 2,000 years ago, around the time of Christ. The Japanese hand fan, which is from the specific country of Japan, those came into vogue around 600 AD, and a Chinese version of the hand fan came into vogue, was used more prominently in about 700 BC. So as far as how many blades there are in any particular type of fan, it's not just in other countries. Although the first time I heard of it was in reference to India. Why do ceiling fans in India have a different number of blades? Fans, basically, fans are made for different purposes, and depending on what that purpose is, that is how many blades you're going to have. So in India, which was where I first heard about it, I didn't go to India and hear about it. I heard somebody ask, why the ceiling fans in India only have 3 blades? And I thought, I don't know. So in India, the fans are primarily decorative. They don't really do anything. 3-bladed fans are more energy efficient because they don't have as many blades to drag through the air. They have less drag, but consequently they also move less air. So they're pretty much just to look there and look pretty. And if you think about the scene in Indiana Jones where he's sitting there and he's eating dates, and there's like these ceiling fans moving lazily above him, they're just for decoration. Ceiling fans, as an aside, there was a thing that one of my sites wanted me to make sure I mentioned. Ceiling fans don't change the temperature or the humidity levels. They only move the air. So when you have the sense of cool air running across your skin, obviously the sweat will evaporate and it will make you feel cooler. You can turn the ceiling fan around so that it blows air up instead of down. When it blows air up, it pushes the hot air from your heating system. It pushes that up where convection will then carry it across the ceiling, down the walls, because it runs out of room, up across the ceiling, and then it recirculates the air, causing the air to stay warmer in that particular room, but it doesn't make it warmer. It merely pushes warmer air down and makes it warmer. Where are you going to stand to be the most effective at the ceiling fan? There is least airflow. And I said ceiling fan, but of course these apply to any kind of fan, any kind of electric fan, a fan that's on the ground, or one that's on a stick, or one that rotates, or one that oscillates, or one that's on the ceiling. Ceiling fans, let's see. There is the least airflow at the center of the fan and also at the tips of the blades. So if you stand directly under a ceiling fan, you're going to stand in that area where it has the least amount of airflow, and so you're not going to get as much of an effect as if you were to stand near the tips, near the middle of the blade. There's also the least airflow at the tip of the blade because it's got the drag. It's pushing the air around, not up or down. Standing somewhere near the center of the blades is actually the best place to stand if you want to have the most effect from your fan. Also, the bigger the blade, the more air it moves. That seems like kind of a no-brainer. So when you have more blades, you move more air. Again, that also seems somewhat common sense. So there's a sort of a delicate balancing act there, because drag reduces airflow. Bigger or more quantifiable blades drag more. So you're kind of got the more blades are doing more airflow, but they're also creating more drag, and so the net sum is actually probably not that great. So what you do, or what you will find that manufacturers do, is they tilt the blades, kind of like an airplane wing. Tilting the blade increases the airflow, but it reduces drag because there's less of the blade's surface touching the air at any given point. So 45 to 55 degree tilt, that's what's called the optimum slant. If the motor, only if the motor is not a factor, if you can have the biggest motor ever, if it doesn't matter how big the motor is, the most efficient design for moving air is 4 blades at this tilt. Motors also use energy, however, and so they need to be efficient as well, so that they don't run up the energy cost, because the whole point of your ceiling fan, most people would assume, is to reduce energy cost. And you don't want a giant motor that's causing it to use up a whole lot more electricity. So the wing tips, if they put little tip things at the end of the blades, that also decreases drag. The fan is of the material fan's blade is made of also factors into energy efficiency. That's again pretty obvious. If for some reason you had concrete blades, they're going to use a whole lot more energy to move than, say, a latticed bamboo blade. And also finally, another thing about India that I found that I just felt like you all had to know, because I had to know it. Fans made out of peacock feathers in India symbolize the eternal vigilance of the ruler. So there you go. If you see a fan with peacock feathers, That's what that is. So we were going to look at the post office, but Dan on Facebook wants to know about the archaic words in the common Christmas carols. So that's what we're doing. So we'll just start with a few Christmas carols that pretty much everyone has heard of. From Jingle Bells. The bells on bobtail ring. That is how that phrase goes. It's not bobtails, ring on bobtail's ring. It's not. Another one that I've heard is bells on Bob's tail ring, as if Bob was the name of the horse. A bobtail is a style of a horse's tail, either cut short or tied up, gathered in a knot. Because if you're riding in a sleigh, you don't want the luxurious flapping of the horse tail, so they tie that up. Also, in the second verse, we hear, the horse was lean and lank, misfortune seemed his lot. We ran into a drifted bank, and there we got upsot. Again, some people say upset. It is upsot. And upsot does mean upset in the sense of overturned, like you upset the glass and only you upset the sleigh. So it's upsot. So it's the past tense of upset. In Deck the Halls, troll the ancient Yuletide carol. So we know what an ancient Yuletide carol is. A troll. What is a troll? Is a troll a person who hangs out on the internet looking for people to poke? Or is a troll when you drive a boat across the top of the water with a net down below trolling for fish? Which is, by the way, why an internet troll is called a troll, because they're just dragging a net looking for somebody to irritate. No, troll in this instance means sing it very loud. Sing it loud and proud. So we're going to troll the ancient Yuletide carols. We're going to sing them loudly. The holly and the ivy, that's a pretty one. The holly bears a bark as bitter as any gall. A gall is rancor or bitterness of the spirit. So you don't want to be eating, don't nibble the bark of the holly, because it will just take away your soul. It's so bitter, it just grabs you and takes away your soul. Hark the herald angels sing. This one I didn't realize was difficult, but I found it on a lot of websites of unusual words. Hark the herald angels sing. Veiled in flesh the Godhead see, hail the incarnate deity. Incarnate simply means embodied in human form. He has been, like reincarnated. Take off the RE, incarnated. It means embodied in human form. The wassailing song. I've never heard of the wassailing song. It could be called the wassailing song, but I'm going to go with the wassailing song. The wassailing song, wassailing is caroling. And this one's not a Christmas carol, but this one, it is sung around this time of year. It was particularly on New Year's Eve, Auld Lang Syne. This is an old Scottish tune. And Auld Lang Syne means old times. Times go by. So should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and the days, basically times gone by, Auld Lang Syne. So there you go. Now you know all that stuff, all that things that you had no idea you wanted to know, but now you do. Next week we're going to do why do cats do that? Insert anything. But you know what? I don't think that's accurate. Let me check. I think that we're actually doing something different next week. Next week we are doing, the Hobbits Down Under. We're doing the Hobbits Down Under, the real life hobbits. Yeah, there's such a thing as a real life hobbit. Also, a listener question: do oceans freeze? There's a very interesting answer to that. By the way, while we're here and we're just looking at stuff, I'm aware that you can't see this, but I'm looking anyway. We have 124 likes. Guess what? 124 likes. I don't have to eat natto. I'm a quarter of the way to having to eat the natto there. Just about 500 Facebook likes. 500 Facebook likes, and I will eat the most disgusting substance known to man. Natto, a fermented soybean booger mix that tastes like old feet, has the texture of snot, and I can't even on the taste, although I will try even to explain it as it's happening. If I don't actually throw it up, I think I can keep from throwing it up. I'm pretty good about that. I have a pretty strong stomach. So anyway, that's next week is the Hobbits. The Hobbits down under in the Australia's area. And do the oceans freeze? So I really hope you pay attention to that. And I encourage you to enjoy some upbeat outro music and have a very nice day. Bye.